Okay, so you really want to get inside Warren Buffett's head,
Like, really understand how he thinks, yeah.
not just the Oracle of Omaha stuff.
Right, more than the headline.
You want the deep dive on how he built everything.
Exactly.
Well, you came to the right place. We're going deep on this book.
The man behind the legend.
It's fascinating,
It really is.
because it clearly admires Buffett.
Oh, yeah.
But at the same
But
time,
at the same time, it's trying to be so accurate.
like, really accurate.
Yeah, the author even asks readers to point out any errors.
Whoa, that's commitment to getting things right.
Total commitment to the truth.
Kind of reflects Buffett's whole approach, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Integrity, clear thinking.
That's his reputation.
And you see that even in how the book's put together.
Okay, so let's go back to the beginning.
Back to Omaha.
Young Warren, not exactly born with a silver spoon.
Nope, even though his dad was in the stock market.
The book really paints this picture of young Warren hustling.
Oh, it does. Lemonade stands, paper routes.
Classic kid stuff.
But then, get this, a pinball machine business.
Wait, hold on. A pinball machine business.
Yeah. Classic entrepreneurial spirit, right?
Makes you wonder what kind of deals young Warren was cutting back then.
Right. But seriously, you see that work ethic taking root early.
It's like those experiences really formed him.
They lay the groundwork, yeah.
It wasn't just kid stuff.
No, it was the foundation.
Spotting opportunities, calculated risks, the hustle.
Pure Buffett, even in miniature.
Makes the next part even more surprising.
What's that?
Harvard Business School.
Uh-oh.
They rejected him.
No way.
Yeah. Can you imagine?
It makes you wonder, what if he'd gotten in?
Right. Different path entirely.
Would we even know the name Warren Buffett today?
Instead, he ends up studying under Benjamin Graham.
Ah, the father of value investing.
Talk about a sliding doors moment.
The book really shows how important Graham was for Buffett.
Completely shaped his approach.
Yeah, his whole way of thinking about investing.
What's the key lesson Buffett took from Graham?
That's a good question.
Like the one that really stuck.
I think it's that idea of seeking out undervalued assets.
Undervalued assets.
Undervalued assets.
You know those hidden gems the market's missing?
Okay, I'm following.
Graham was all about deep research, finding those opportunities.
That others miss.
Exactly, and Buffett's applied that masterfully his whole career.
So it's less about speculation and more about understanding a company, really.
More about understanding the value.
Not just picking the hot stock.
Right, it's got to have that underlying value.
Makes me think of his company, Berkshire Hathaway.
What about it?
The book makes it clear it didn't start as some Wall Street giant.
No, not at all.
It was a textile business.
A textile business.
Which I think is so important.
Why is that?
It shows Buffett's not afraid to step outside expectations.
Get his hands dirty, yeah.
The book uses it as an example of his adaptability.
Willingness to learn, to evolve.
It also speaks to his patience, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. He didn't transform Berkshire overnight.
It was a process.
He took this struggling textile business, and over time,
careful investment, strategic acquisitions.
turned it into
One of the most successful conglomerates in the world.
which brings us to the Coca-Cola deal.
Everyone knows that one.
Huge success.
But the book digs into the why.
Yeah, why it was so genius.
And it wasn't just luck.
Goes way deeper.
Buffett understood consumer behavior, brand loyalty.
Coca-Cola's selling more than a drink.
They're selling happiness in a bottle.
But it's also about how he approached the deal.
Not a quick flip, right?
No, he was looking for a company to hold long-term.
A company that could weather the ups and downs.
That durable competitive advantage.
It's a lesson in itself, honestly.
I'm seeing a pattern here.
What's that?
It's not just financial savvy.
There's more to it.
It's a whole set of values, traits that make up his approach.
It's all connected.
And the book doesn't shy away from that.
No, not at all.
It goes into his philanthropy.
The giving pledge.
His famous letters to shareholders.
How he built a brand beyond just money.
Right. It's all part of a bigger picture.
It's all intertwined.
Values influence the investments. Brand builds trust.
It all feeds into each other.
We're starting to see the full scope of his strategy.
And that interconnectedness is key, whether it's choosing a stock or donating billions.
There's that consistent thread
Long-term thinking.
applied to every aspect of his life.
That's impressive.
But the book doesn't make him out to be some flawless superhero.
No, not at all.
It actually talks about some of his investment blunders,
Mistakes happen, even to the Oracle of Omaha.
which I think is great.
Why is that?
It humanizes him.
It does, and it also highlights something crucial.
What's that?
Success isn't about never being wrong.
It's about learning from those mistakes, right?
Exactly. Adapt your strategy. Grow from it.
Buffett embraces those missteps.
He uses them as opportunities,
So we're seeing someone brilliant, values-driven,
but also constantly learning.
evolving, adapting.
And that's inspiring, honestly.
It really is.
It's a reminder that even someone at his level is still learning.
Still trying to improve.
A powerful message, no matter your financial goals.
And the book really drives that point home.
How so?
It makes you think about your OWN core values.
What are they?
How do they shape your decisions?
Big or small?
It's like Buffett's life is a case study.
In how to live with intention.
How to build something lasting.
And make a real impact.
But I gotta ask, how does this translate to someone who's not picking stocks?
Like someone building a career.
Or starting a business?
That's where it gets really interesting.
Okay, I'm all ears.
The Buffett principles go way beyond Wall Street.
Tell me more.
Take the circle of competence, for example.
Circle of competence. What's that?
Buffett sticks to what he understands.
Like certain industries, companies.
He doesn't chase every trend.
So how does that apply to, say, me?
Focus on your own expertise.
In areas that genuinely interest me?
Exactly. Find your niche.
Become a master of it.
Instead of trying to be a jack of all trades.
So, understand your strengths, where you excel.
Oh, catch your energy there.
Okay, I like that.
And then there's margin of safety.
Margin of safety. In investing, that's
Not overpaying for an asset.
always having a cushion.
But the book says we can use this for any decision.
Seriously. How did that work outside of finance?
Think of it as a buffer.
A safety net.
Don't overcommit.
Time. Resources.
Always factor in downsides.
Have a backup plan.
It's about building resilience no matter what you're doing.
That's actually really practical advice. It's like having a plan B for your career, relationships, even personal goals.
Exactly.
But let's go back to the book for a sec.
Sure.
You mentioned Buffett's philanthropy.
Oh, yeah.
That's not something you usually associate with a hard-nosed investor.
It's what's so compelling about him.
It's kind of unexpected.
But the book talks about the giving pledge
His commitment to donating most of his wealth.
and the impact his foundations had.
Global health, poverty.
It challenges this idea that success is just about personal gain.
It can be about making a difference.
A positive impact.
It's refreshing, honestly.
Is it?
It's easy to be cynical about wealth,
Right.
but here's someone using it for good.
Trying to solve problems.
And it makes you think, what are Bubby E overlooking? Because we're too focused on the short game.
That's a good question.
We get caught up in the day-to-day.
But Buffett's story reminds us to think bigger. It's inspiring.
So we've got this image emerging. Investor, philanthropist, mentor.
The wider picture.
But the book also highlights his skills as a communicator.
Oh, yeah, his shareholder letters.
They're legendary.
They really are.
What makes them so special?
They're more than just financial reports.
They're witty, insightful.
Observations about business, life.
It's like he's sharing his mental models, how he thinks.
And he does it in a way that's engaging.
So even if you're not into investing,
You can still learn a lot.
from how he breaks down complex ideas,
Explains things clearly.
the book pulls out key quotes, themes from those letters.
It's like a crash course.
In the Buffett School of Thought,
I like that.
it highlights something important.
What's that?
He's not just a brilliant investor,
He's a brilliant communicator.
and that's valuable anywhere.
In any field, absolutely.
Okay, so we're starting to answer that initial question.
About what we can learn from Warren Buffett.
It's way more than stock tips.
Way more.
It's about values, mindset.
Looking deeper, long-term vision.
Success isn't just what you achieve,
It's how you achieve it.
a message that resonates no matter what you do.
No matter your goals.
But there's one more thing we got to touch on.
What's that?
Buffett and technology.
Ah, yes.
It's no secret. He was skeptical at first.
Of tech companies.
He avoided them for years,
It's up to what he knew, those brick-and-mortar businesses.
wary of all that rapid
Yeah,
change.
especially in the early internet days.
So many companies came and went.
It was a wild time.
But eventually, he came around.
He did.
That investment in Apple.
One of Berkshire Hathaway's biggest holdings now.
It's fascinating, that evolution.
The book goes into why he hesitated initially.
He was always focused on a company's intrinsic value.
But even as he adapted, his core principles stayed the same,
It's about staying true to your values,
while being open to learning.
adapting to change.
That's a valuable lesson.
The book really highlights that.
Even the Oracle of Omaha
Doesn't know everything.
is constantly seeking new knowledge, perspectives.
So it's not about having all the answers.
It's about having the humility to keep learning
Keep asking questions.
and growing.
It's a journey, not a destination.
And that's what makes it so rewarding.
It's amazing right?
Was.
Someone like Buffett, still on that journey.
Still learning.
You're
Yeah.
still evolving. It's humbling.
It really is.
But it brings me back to this idea of undervalued opportunities.
The book keeps coming back to that.
It's like Buffett's superpower,
Seeing potential.
where others just don't.
It's remarkable.
But how do we apply that?
In our own lives.
Yeah, not just trying to find the next hot stock.
It's a whole way of seeing the world.
The Buffett vision.
You could call it that.
Okay, I'm sold. Give me the breakdown.
What does that vision look like?
Exactly.
First, you got to tune out the noise.
The noise.
The hype, the ups and downs, all the emotions.
The stuff that clouds your judgment.
Exactly. Look past the surface.
Focus on the real value underneath.
That's it. Shift your focus from price to value.
In investing, that means looking at a company's fundamentals, right?
Their long-term earning potential.
But you're saying we could apply that elsewhere, too.
Absolutely. To other areas of life.
Okay, now you've got my attention.
Think about relationships.
Relationship.
Are you investing in people who bring out your best?
Who support your growth.
Yeah. Or are you chasing superficial connections?
The ones that drain you.
Are you building relationships with long-term value?
Whoa, that's a good analogy.
We're all building portfolios.
Not just financial ones.
Portfolios of relationships, experiences, even skills.
And the book's saying we got to be intentional about it.
What are we adding to those portfolios?
Making choices that align with our goals.
Diversifying our experiences, managing risk,
It's like using that Buffett lens on everything.
spotting those hidden gems, those opportunities,
An undervalued skill.
a neglected
A
relentless.
new way of thinking that unlocks things.
And sometimes those most undervalued assets
Right where?
within ourselves.
Oh.
A talent we haven't developed, a skill we've let slide.
Even just a different way of thinking.
It could change everything.
It's not always external.
Sometimes it's about tapping into our own potential.
The book hints at that with Buffett.
It's not just about financial smarts.
It's the discipline, the work ethic.
The ability to learn, adapt,
Those are qualities we can all cultivate.
no matter our background, our
It's
circumstances,
about knowing your strengths
your circle of competence.
and investing in those areas.
With the same dedication, long-term vision,
Play the long game, not the quick win.
that's the Buffett way.
This is making me rethink my whole approach.
They're everything.
Yeah. But before we go too far,
What is it?
those shareholder letters,
Ah, yes.
the book talks about them a lot.
They're legendary for a reason.
What makes them so special?
More than just financial reports.
Witty, wise observations about business, about life,
Sharing his mental models
how he sees the world.
clearly, concisely, and engagingly.
So you're saying even if someone's not a finance person,
They can still get a lot out of them.
how he explains things, how he breaks down complex ideas,
Absolutely. You can learn about problem solving, decision making.
just clear communications.
It's there.
The book pulls out key quotes, themes from those letters.
Gives you a real sense of his thinking.
It's like a crash course in the Buffett School of Thought.
It's a pretty good education, honestly.
It highlights something important.
What's that?
He's not just a brilliant investor. He's a brilliant communicator.
And that's a skill we can all use.
No matter what you do.
In any field, for sure.
Okay, so we've covered a lot.
From Omaha to Apple, textiles to Coca-Cola.
Investing, philanthropy, even how to write a great letter.
It's clear Warren Buffett is a fascinating figure.
More than that.
What do you mean?
It's about how these lessons apply to all of us.
The book really captures that.
The complexity, the contradictions,
The things that make him human,
but it also emphasizes those core principles.
the things that drove his success,
Patience, discipline, integrity.
and that long-term vision.
Those are timeless no matter what you're doing.
Whether you're managing billions or just trying to live your best life.
But what's the takeaway? What does the book really want us to get?
It's a call to action, I think.
A call to action.
To think differently.
To question our assumptions.
To look for that value where others don't see it. Think about the legacy we're building.
Not just the immediate payoff.
It's about the bigger picture.
So like Buffett's holding up a mirror.
Asking,
Sure.
what are you really investing in?
Short game or building something lasting?
That's the question.
It's a powerful one.
The book suggests we all have the potential,
To achieve great things.
but it starts with the right mindset,
The right values.
the right approach.
And that brings us back to undervalued opportunities.
They're everywhere.
Maybe out in the world.
Or maybe within ourselves,
It's about recognizing our own potential.
having the courage to invest in it.
Stepping outside our comfort zones.
Challenging ourselves, embracing the journey.
Lifelong learning.
That's the key.
I love that.
It's inspiring, empowering.
Even Buffett is still a work in progress.
We can all evolve, learn throughout our lives.
Makes you wonder what else we can learn from his journey.
What else is there to explore?
Well, we haven't really talked about how he handles risk.
His approach to risk.
Yeah, he's seen as this savvy investor taking calculated risks.
But the book shows he's actually quite risk-averse.
Really? I thought he'd be all about those big swings.
He's all about minimizing downside.
Minimizing downside.
He's famous for saying,
Go on.
rule number 1, don't lose money. Rule number 2, don't forget rule number 1.
I've heard that one.
The book explains how he puts that into practice.
How so?
Diversification's a big one.
Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Spread your investments.
Not just stocks and bonds.
Diversify your life experiences, your skills, relationships,
Building that strong foundation.
so you can weather any storm.
Exactly. And what else?
Understanding the businesses he invests in.
He really does his research.
Digs deep, makes sure he's comfortable with the risk.
So it's not about avoiding risk entirely.
It's about being informed, calculated,
Understanding your own risk tolerance.
making decisions that align with that.
This applies to everything, really.
Career choices, personal investments.
There's so much more to learn from Buffett than just investment stuff.
It's a whole new way of thinking.
New approach to life.
And the book encourages us to do just that.
Think like Buffett. See the world through his lens.
Apply his principles.
Well, on that note, I think it's time to wrap up this deep dive.
Already, we've covered a lot of ground.
From Omaha to Apple, investing to philanthropy.
The power of compounding lifelong learning.
Those undervalued opportunities.
Everywhere we look.
It's been an incredible
I
journey.
hope our listeners have found it insightful
Me too.
and thought-provoking.
If there's one takeaway,
What would that be?
it's this. We all have the potential,
To achieve great things.
but he starts with the right mindset.
The Buffett mindset.
Discipline, curiosity.
And that focus on long-term value.
Beautifully put.
Who knows, maybe this deep dive will spark something.
An idea, a new way of thinking.
Maybe someone will pick up a book about Buffett.
That'd be awesome.
Until next time.
Keep exploring, keep learning.
And keep that Buffett lens focused.
You never know what you'll find.
Oh.
As we've been talking about all these different sides of Buffett, I keep coming back to this long game idea,
It's everywhere with him.
so central to his philosophy.
Investing, business, even philanthropy.
But it's easy to say, think long term.
Right. Much harder to actually do it.
So what's the secret? How does he stay focused on that?
In a world that's all about instant gratification, it's tough.
The book gives some good insights, though.
It does.
Boils down to discipline, patience, willingness to delay gratification.
Those are the big ones.
But how do those actually play out, like in what he does?
Well, take discipline.
Yeah.
Buffett's incredibly disciplined with investing.
What does that look like?
He doesn't get swayed by trends, or emotions.
He's cool.
Sticks to his principles, does his research.
Certainly invests in what he understands.
Yeah, and believes in, yeah.
So it's about having a plan and sticking to it.
Even when things get rough.
Not easy.
But it goes beyond investing.
Oh.
That discipline, it's in everything he does.
His lifestyle.
Simple, frugal, laser focused on his goals.
Kind of challenges that stereotype of the billionaire, right?
The one always chasing the next thrill.
Buffett seems content with a much more grounded approach.
Contentment, that's a good word for it.
And I think that comes from patience.
Knowing that building wealth takes time.
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Exactly. He's willing to wait.
For the right opportunity,
Hold investments for years, decades even.
that kind of patience is rare these days.
It is with how fast everything moves.
So how does he do it?
I think it's a deep understanding of compounding.
Compounding.
He compares it to a snowball rolling down a hill.
The longer it rolls, the bigger it gets.
Applies to investments, skills, relationships.
The more you put in, the greater the rewards over time. So it's about showing up every day, those small improvements,
Making them consistently.
and they add up over time.
That's the beauty of compounding.
And then there's delaying gratification.
Oh, that's huge for Buffett.
Not needing those instant results.
Not chasing the quick win.
Content to play the long game.
Knowing the real rewards come later.
It all ties back to that Buffett vision.
It does.
Not just seeing the opportunities.
But having the patience, the discipline to actually make them work.
It's not always easy, is it?
No, it takes a certain mindset.
Willingness to sacrifice now for success later.
But the book says it's a skill. Anyone can learn it.
So how do we do that? In a world full of distractions.
Full of temptations pulling us in every direction.
The book has to have some advice, right?
It does. Setting clear goals is a big one.
Knowing what you're aiming for.
What you're willing to give up to get there.
Having that long-term vision.
Without it, it's easy to get lost.
You need that North Star.
To guide you, absolutely.
What else?
Surround yourself with the right people.
Oh, that's important.
Buffett has his close circle, advisors, friends.
People who share his values.
Support his vision.
Like a personal board of directors.
Offering advice, encouragement, holding you accountable.
Especially on those long journeys.
Support is essential.
And of course, continuous learning.
Buffett's a voracious reader, always curious.
Always looking for new information, new angles.
He knows the world's always changing.
Got to keep learning to stay ahead.
Lifelong learning, that's the key.
This reminds me of what we do here at the Deep Dive.
It does, doesn't it?
Exploring those hidden depths.
Yeah.
Challenging what we think we know.
Expanding our horizons.
The book really emphasizes that.
It's not enough to just be smart.
I got to keep growing, evolving, adapting. It's like Darwin said, it's not the strongest or most intelligent who survive, but the most adaptable to change.
He was on to something, wasn't he?
And Buffett lives that out.
Not afraid to change his mind, admit he's wrong.
Learn from those mistakes.
That's how he stays ahead, even after all this time.
This has been fantastic.
It really has.
We got to the core of what makes Buffett tick.
Not just the investor,
but the human being.
And there's so much we can take from that.
No matter our goals, our aspirations.
The book does a great job humanizing him.
Showing even someone like Buffett is still a work in progress.
Still learning, still evolving.
And that's what's so inspiring, right?
It is.
You all have the potential.
But it starts with the right mindset.
The right values, the right approach.
And that's a good place to leave it, I think.
It is. We've covered so much ground.
Omaha to Apple, investing to giving back.
How to think, how to learn, how to live. Hopefully we've given our listeners a lot to think about.
Maybe even inspired them to see the world a little differently.
If we did that, I'd call that a success.
Absolutely.
So until next time, keep exploring those ideas.
Keep learning, keep questioning.
And keep that Buffett lens on the world.
You never know what you'll discover.